Hey friends, what's up? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. It's pretty much the end of 2024. And with that in mind, I wanted to share with you guys what, in my opinion, are the 10 best designer releases of the year. I tried pretty much everything. As far as the big releases go, all the big brands, all their stuff, I've tried it all. These are the ones that stick out the most to me in a really good way. Whether it's because they're extremely versatile, big compliment pullers, or both of those things, these are the ones I look forward to wearing the most. That being said, if one of your favorites is not in this list, don't take that as meaning that it's worse or inferior than the ones that I'm sharing with you. These are just the ones that I enjoy the most. All of them are linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. Let's jump straight into it with number 10, Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Parfum. And I thought about putting this one a little bit higher, but I did reach for some of the other fragrances more, which is why it comes in at number 10. Still though, really solid fragrance, great performance. Kind of hard to find in the US if you're trying to find it for a good price. I mean, you can find it. Like, you can go to Guerlain's website, you can buy it full retail. I think it's $175 if memory serves correctly. But when it pops up at discounters, typically there aren't that many actually available, so they sell out really quickly. In terms of notes, it's got a really simple note breakdown. You have amaretto, leather, musk, and patchouli. So that amaretto is gonna give you an almond kind of feel, which is gonna tie it in with the other L'Homme Ideal fragrances with a little bit of boozy sweetness on top. Kind of reminiscent to L'Homme Ideal Extreme, the way that it comes across. Absolutely more of a fall, wintertime fragrance during day or evening, either one. Solid compliment puller, smells fantastic, and comes in at number 10. Number 9 is from Hugo Boss. It is the Scent Elixir, and it's the only elixir fragrance in the top 10. There's a lot of elixirs out there nowadays, aren't there? Yeah. A fragrance with yet another simple note breakdown, only 3 notes in this one. Red pepper, lavender, and sandalwood. I'm so glad that they gave me just 3 notes. Otherwise, I would be confused if it had 6, 7 notes. Oh my God. Could you imagine trying to smell a fragrance and keep up with more than 3 notes? Jeez. What do you think I am, bro? A robot? AI? No, seriously though, 3 notes. Like, come on. The dumbing down of fragrance note breakdowns. It's not that serious, but you know, it's good to do a little pointless rant from time to time. So the Scent Elixir, this one's really sweet, has a nice warm, spicy aspect to it, another big compliment puller, and it's a fragrance that's gonna fly under the radar a little bit because the scent line is not as massive as most of the other fragrance lines that I'm gonna be talking about in today's video. So not as many people are gonna be wearing this one compared to most everything else. So that means it's gonna give you a little more of a unique feel, but it still has, like I said, that compliment factor as well. And this is another one more for fall and wintertime use. It's a little bit similar to the Scent Magnetic that came before it, but that's not a bad thing because that one was really good also. Number 8 is MYSLF Le Parfum from Yves Saint Laurent. And this one has a really simple idea behind it. Just take MYSLF, the original eau de parfum, make it a little bit deeper, a little bit warmer, maybe slightly sweeter, and more tuned for fall and wintertime use. That's what you got. In terms of notes, it has orange blossom, vanilla, amber, pepper, and patchouli. And that orange blossom, just like in the original MYSLF, is going to be one of the main stars of the show. But like I said, a little additional sweetness and warmth coming from the amber and vanilla. And even though there's only 2 fragrances in the line so far, the MYSLF line sometimes does catch a little bit of hate. But I'll tell you what, this stuff works. It is extremely versatile. Yes, this one is, like I said, better suited for fall and winter time, but you can wear it about anywhere, anytime, any place, and you don't have to think about it a bit. Cozy and inviting while at the same time having a little sexy edge to it. MYSLF Le Parfum, really, really good stuff. And that's one that actually I thought about moving up even more. Like when I first made this list, I had it at number 10, and I was like, I don't know, I've really enjoyed it. You know, I've started to wear it more as it's cooled down, and kind of got bumped up. Number 7 is a fragrance that some people may look at and be like, how can you even have that in the top 10? Just boring, simple, generic, whatever. But I'll tell you what, I really like it. And it's a fragrance that I wore a bunch this year, especially through spring, through summertime. It's one that you can wear anywhere, anytime, any place. And it was one of the fragrances that I just left on my desk. And if I was going out during the day and I didn't have anything on yet, I would just grab it, spray, and go. It's Polo 67 from Ralph Lauren. And it's really cheap. At full retail, this is gonna be one of the cheapest fragrances out of everything here that I talked to you about today. I actually think price per milliliter, probably is the cheapest. It's not always readily available, at least as of this video, at discounters, but as time goes on and it stays in stock more often at discounters, the price is gonna continue to drop. And this thing is probably gonna be available for like 50 bucks, something like that. And it's fantastic as is, but if you can pick it up for that, man, this is a pretty much year-round fragrance that people love, that is super easy to wear. A little bit in common with the original myself and how the fragrance comes across, but there are notable differences. So in terms of notes, that one has pineapple, bergamot, sage, juniper, vetiver, and patchouli. So you're gonna get more of a fruity pop off the top. You know, it's very fresh, a little bit fizzy. Has a little bit of an aromatic scent profile as it goes through the mid, and then a very fresh, modern, woodsy base. Not quite as clean clothing or clean laundry-esque as the original myself, but still kind of in that overall ballpark. Just a really solid release. It's not trying to do anything crazy unique, right? It's not trying to break the mold and push things in a crazy artistic direction. But what it is an easy-wearing, contemporary fragrance that you can pull off anywhere. And speaking about discounters, here are a bunch of codes you can use across a bunch of them to save even more money. The JOMASHOP codes only work within the JOMASHOP app, so be aware of that. You have to download it through the App Store, and then it basically functions the exact same way as the website. And then there's also codes for Max Aroma, the Perfume Box, Fragflex, and more. All right, number 6 is a fragrance that I kind of was wondering, should I even put this in the list? Because it is new, but it's also not new. It's Armani Code Eau de Parfum 2024. So obviously the name Armani Code Eau de Parfum, that already existed in a different bottle, but still there was already Armani Code Eau de Parfum. Then they changed the bottle style into the one that you see right here, and they also changed the fragrance. And there are a lot of Armani 2024 iterations out there now. Iterations, editions, whatever you wanna call it. They've just been messing around with a lot of stuff, right? Now there's Acqua di Gio Profondo Eau de Parfum 2024, Acqua di Gio Eau de Toilette 2024, Acqua di Gio Parfum 2024, Stronger with You Intensely 2024. You get the idea. They've done a lot of stuff. And with this one, they essentially took the original Armani Code Eau de Parfum, discontinued it, and released a new Armani Code with the same name and changed the bottle. So if you love the original Armani Code Eau de Parfum that comes in the original code style bottle, scoop some of those up if you can, because they're going away. In terms of the note breakdown, they simplified things yet again. So with this one, it has mandarin orange, nutmeg, and tonka. And the fragrance itself actually smells similar to Armani Code Profumo and Armani Code Absolu to a lesser extent. So it's right in that wheelhouse. It's gonna remind you of that style of Armani Code, and that's the style I loved the most. Armani Code Absolu was my favorite. I also really liked Armani Code Profumo, and having something really similar to Code Profumo available readily from Armani is really nice. It's another one that's really good for fall and winter time. Has a great sweet aspect to it, almost like a carbonated soda. I think it was Dr. Pepper. People were calling it that when it first came out, or depending on who you are, maybe you smell it and go, oh, root beer. But yeah, just really pleasant, fantastic smelling scent. And I'm glad to have a little bit more of that available once again. We're in the top 5. Number 5 is Invictus Parfum from Rabanne. I have not always been the biggest fan of Invictus style fragrances, talking about that bubblegum marine kind of freshness and sweetness. Now, I respect the fragrance for what it did, because it changed everything. How many fragrances came out after Invictus that smelled similar to Invictus? And you can still smell that inspiration in a lot of releases coming out nowadays, but still, that original Invictus, I wasn't in love with it. Invictus Victory, Victory Elixir, completely separate. I love those, but those don't really smell like Invictus. They're kind of their own thing, right? Invictus Parfum does smell like Invictus, but better. In terms of the note breakdown, it has aquatic notes, of course. It has a soapy aspect, pink pepper, violet lavender, and musk. And it doesn't go overboard with that bubblegummy sweetness. It's still there, but it's reined in. It's made classier, higher end. It comes across a little bit more buttoned up, but still has a playful side to it. And then that soapy aspect is really well done also. Big compliment puller, another one that's extremely versatile and a scent that I just really, really love. And I like the bottle design too. Yeah, it's a Paco Rabanne, so it's still gonna be a little bit tacky, but who cares? That's kind of their thing at this point. But it's basically like this bottle started taking Ozempic and it's shredded up. So it's lost its like cupcake love handles and now it's chiseled. That sounds a little bit weird. Number 4 is from Versace. It is Eros Energy. I really, really enjoy Eros Energy, but I know it's not for absolutely everybody because it has a bunch of citrus. There are multiple citrus notes in here off the top, and that's really gonna be the focal point when you first spray the fragrance on. Along with those citrus notes, you're going to get pink pepper, black currant, oak moss, and musk. And for some people, they're reminded of fragrances like Invictus cologne when you first spray this one on. And it is a little bit similar to Invictus cologne when you spray it on, but I wouldn't consider this like a true replacement for Invictus cologne or anything like that. They're not the exact same, and they go their separate ways as the fragrances dry down. But I love the citrus here off the top. I think it smells extremely appealing. It's got a little bit of a natural aspect to it in the way that it comes across slightly rindy, but not overtly so. I like how I said that, overtly so. And by that, I mean stuff like Light Blue Forever, which is another one I really enjoy. That's by Dolce & Gabbana. That one has more of a rindy aspect to it. So it's a little bit more sour meets sweet when you first spray it on. This one has a touch of that sour aspect, just not too much. I think it's great for spring and especially summer. It's more of a daytime fragrance, very safe, easy to wear. Another compliment puller, as most all these fragrances are. And this is the other cheapest one here. At full retail, this is cheaper than pretty much everything other than Polo 67. And as time goes on, I expect that to go down in price at discounters. And just like Polo 67, I expect it to be something that is readily affordable for most people. And for the quality that you get for what I think it's gonna go for, I think it's a great release. And even at full retail, it's really, really nice. All right, we're in the top 3, and these 3 are heavy hitters. Number 3 is Paradise Garden, and that is from Jean Paul Gaultier. This is part of the Le Beau line, and I think it's just really, really well done. That's like the first big release of the year, and it stayed as one of the absolute best of the year for me all year long. Because this one was the first really big release of 2024. Like, this is the first one that really people were talking about, that people were excited for, and it set the bar really high for everything else that came after it. In terms of notes, it has kind of a green aquatic accord. There's also mint, coconut, fig, tonka, and ginger in here. It is very fresh, but also very sweet. So you have that fig and coconut that you can pick up pretty much right away. A little bit creamy, also clean. Another one that's very appealing, that's gonna stand out in the crowd, because really the only stuff that smells similar to this is the other fragrances in the Le Beau line, at least what most people are gonna be wearing anyway. Like, if you bump that up against all the other top sellers out there, you know, your Dior Sauvages, Bleu de Chanel's, your Wise, all that stuff, it smells very different. And it's just absolutely stunning. Right up until like, the later half of the year, that was my clear number 1 until these last 2 fragrances came out. Number 2 is Boss Bottled Absolu from Hugo Boss. Hugo Boss crushed it with this. I'm a huge fan of Boss Bottled Elixir. That came out last year. It is absolutely fantastic, but I like Boss Bottled Absolu even more. In terms of notes, it has incense, leather, myrrh, davana, and patchouli. And to me, it has kind of a tobacco aspect to it. It's not an official note, but I pick it up. And some people will pick up that tobacco kind of vibe. Other people won't. And it's a little bit reminiscent of Parfums de Marly Carlisle to an extent, like a designer version of PDM Carlisle. It's kind of in the same family. It's masculine with a great, rich, semi-dark, sweet aspect to it. Then you also have that leather that gives a great base for everything else to play off of. Fall and winter, an absolute stunner. Maybe for some people, it would be more of like a special occasion fragrance. So if you wanted to point out a weakness in the scent, maybe it would be that, where some people would say, yeah, it smells really good, but you know, I'm gonna wear realistically my MYSLF Parfum more often, or Code Eau de Parfum or something like that. But I think if we're just talking the scent itself, how much I like it, the quality, all of that stuff, this is one of the best of the year. And then my number 1 favorite release of the year, Scandal Absolu. This stuff is magic for me. Absolutely fantastic. Another dumb note breakdown, Mirabelle Plum, Sandalwood, Chestnut. Really not a big fan of those. I think it just tells more of the story if you give a more detailed note breakdown. And some people don't agree with that, which is totally fair. Some people say, no, you really just need the 3, right? Easier for advertising, easier to wrap your head around. But I like to have a little more info. I'm not saying give me like 50 notes, but you know, paint a picture. Regardless, it smells absolutely killer. That is one of the best fall and wintertime fragrances on the market today, especially if you like fragrances kind of in the style of the Most Wanted or Stronger With You, stuff like that. This is in that wheelhouse and it's one of the best. The way it opens up is very lightly fresh, also sweet, extremely appealing and sexy. You could find like similarities to the fragrances I just mentioned, maybe even other ones like little bits of 1 Million Lucky or something. The chestnut gives this gourmand edge, you know, almost smells edible. It's another one that's just alluring, magnetic, not overly sweet, not syrupy or anything like that. No sticky, headache-inducing sweetness. Everything is balanced extremely well. The performance is great also. Everything that I want in a fall and winter scent, this does. It's one that I loved when I first smelled it, and I love it more today. And it is #1 for me for this year in terms of designer releases. So there it is. That is my top 10. And there were maybe like 3, 4 other fragrances that I thought were really, really good that were kind of jostling for position right here, but some of them had to be left out. Let me know in the comments below which designer fragrances work the best for you this year. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.